Okay, so this video is going to cover the second stage of a narcissistic abuse cycle. And if you haven't watched the first one, go back and watch it because it's going to be up as well. But this phase is the worst. This is the worst phase that you can get into. So this is the second part, the second phase of a narcissistic relationship. Okay, so you're going to have that first phase. It's going to be that idealization stage. It's going to be the fairy tale. The second stage, though, this is where stuff starts happening and going wrong. It's the devaluation stage. It starts really slowly, and it depends on the person. Like, it can start really slowly because they have to have you hooked. And then a lot of times, this is what I heard just a minute ago, it's called tipping points in your relationship. So once they know they have you hooked, these are going to be like marriage, babies, when you get really serious, you're committed, the first time you'll sleep together, stuff like that, if you wait for that sort of thing. And so the devaluation stage, it starts like usually from a tipping point. There's a tipping point where it starts. They start showing their true colors. And this devaluation stage, it's where you're like, what is happening? You start thinking this person must be on something, right? Because they're starting to change, but it's very covert for a little bit, and then it's very in your face, so you have to be careful. But they start giving you subtle hints that they're dissatisfied with something. They start picking at you just a little bit, just to see what'll happen. And then they tell you that you've done something wrong. You start feeling kind of insecure. And that's the goal. That is the goal of the devaluation stage, is to get you, it's a power struggle. It's to get you to release some of your power. So insecurity means less power. So tentacles, they can get their tentacles into you. And you are going to see they're going to be doing passive-aggressive stuff. And so it's going to be passive-aggressive. They're going to be doing things that are backhanded, like backhanded compliments, where they're like, or like making fun of you in front of their friends, that kind of stuff. They're going to have subtle criticism. They're going to start playing mind games with you. That's the worst. God, I hate mind games. They're going to start stonewalling you. So just no emotion. And then whenever you bring these things up, it's going to be a lack of empathy. There's going to be no validation. So you're going to have problems. You start to have problems, and you start to think you're kind of crazy. And this is when they start gaslighting you, because they start telling you, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. So they're trying to get you to feel like you're crazy and insecure. And this is there's another one that I talk about, where you feel like you're two different people because you're sitting there arguing with yourself if it's real or not. And so they're getting you into that mode where you can start questioning yourself, because then you're much easier to control. And so some of the tactics that you're going to run into here, if you try to break it off, they're ridiculous, but they're real. And it happens so often. They are going to start giving you warnings. Like, if you better watch out. They're going to start giving you ultimatums. You will either do this or I will leave you. You will either do this or I will da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's terrifying. God, that's so terrifying. They'll start punishing you. And so it was like, for me, it was like, I will give you none attention. I will start punishing you by removing myself. Or being passive-aggressive, doing something behind your back to get back at you. Blackmail can start happening here, where they have pictures of you and they start, blackmailing you for things to get you to stay with them, which is like, what kind of people do that? Like, for real, crazy people. Right? Narcissistic people. And then they'll start doing this like threats of self-harm, which you have to be careful about. I'm going to tell you, they do love themselves a little bit more than you think they do. so this threat of self-harm, I'm going to kill myself if you leave. What? That's when you start getting into some pretty hefty narcissist kind of behaviors, is when they start pulling that stuff. So you got to be really careful. And you have to have support system here. And here's the problem with being in a relationship with a narcissist. A lot of times you have nobody else. All of your connections they've eroded away because you have been asked to let go of everything and everyone. And it's just you. And they do that isolation to keep you under control. And it's scary. So some of the things that you're going to see in this, the way that you feel, if you're in this situation, I'm going to tell you, you're going to start feeling some things. And a lot of times you're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel confused, you're going to be devoid of any kind of, well, not devoid, you're going to be afraid of loss of them. You're going to be afraid that they're going to leave you, especially if you have, oh God, anxious attachment style and a fear of abandonment. They're going to play on that because they've already figured that out, that's what's happening. And so in this, the devaluation stage, this is when your mental illness stuff starts popping up. You're going to start seeing that pretty heavy. You have some choices here. You can either pull away from them, or you can start trying to please them more, which is what they're going for. Please me more, so I have to put out less so that I can keep you as an energy supply and still do what I want. And so it's scary. It's kind of scary stuff. But if you pull away, what I'm going to tell you is they will start being enraged at you. And they will not respect anything that you have to say if you start pulling away. Because they're trying to manipulate. Think of it like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Same thing. They just have never outgrown their tantrums. So that is your devaluation stage. And I'm going to tell you, the next stage, stage 3, is just a repetition of the idea. It's an idealization first, and then your devaluation. And so you're just going to repeat those cycles until you start to step away or they start to step away. And I'm going to tell you the idealization stage becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you have nothing. They offer you like, this is breadcrumbing. They offer you as little as they possibly can to get the same response out of you. And you'll do it because you're sitting there trying to please them, trying to earn their love. And it's kooky pants. And I like that word. I'm going to use it because it is. It's kooky pants. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one. I'm sorry, this one's so long. But this is the big one that you have to watch. You have to watch out for this one. This is where you get messed up. So, all right, I'm going to talk about the last stage in the next video.